Now 6:43 in our Capital Watch. The situation continues to develop this morning after the arrest and capture of Venezuela's leader, Nicolas Maduro, by the U.S. So let's go live to Scripps News Group national correspondent Joe St. George. And Joe, what happens next for Maduro and the country of Venezuela?
Well, how much time do you have, right? I think we could do 30 minutes on everything that has transpired over the weekend in Venezuela. We have a little bit more clarity of today. We don't have much clarity when it comes to tomorrow, next week, the weeks and months ahead on this story. Today, Nicolas Maduro will appear in court in the coming hours in New York City to face the charges relating to narco-terrorism. Cocaine-related charges, machine gun-related charges. A historical moment. I mean, think about it. This was a global figure, the de facto leader of Venezuela, of a country, just a few days ago, and now he's in shackles and in handcuffs. And it makes you wonder, from a geopolitical standpoint, who else could face a fate like this? Could other countries deploy this U.S. tactic that captured and apprehended Maduro? All unanswered questions. This morning, additionally, here where I'm at on Capitol Hill, members of Congress, senior members of Congress are preparing for a briefing by the Trump administration later today around the dinner hour or so, in which Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, and others will brief senior members of Congress on the latest with Venezuela. The questions, there's a plethora of questions related to this front this Monday. You have Democrats who are wondering if this was legal at all. Some Democrats believe it was an illegal operation by the Trump administration, that Congress should have played a bigger role. Others have said, well, we need to know about American taxpayer commitment, U.S. military commitment. What does the president mean when he says the U.S. is running Venezuela for the time being? These are big questions that members of Congress have answers to. Now, the Trump administration, they believe what they did was perfectly legal. They point to previous actions in Latin America and South America by past administrations. They also believe that the U.S. is not at war with Venezuela, so they didn't need to inform Congress because of it. Secretary of State Marco Rubio on the Sunday Public Affairs shows on Meet the Press almost suggested that the U.S. military was like the FBI over the weekend, conducting a law enforcement-like operation. Instead of the FBI arresting someone who was indicted, it was, in this case, the U.S. military. President Trump on Air Force One last night reaffirming the U.S. will run Venezuela until a proper transition can occur. He sent a strong warning to the acting president of Venezuela, Delcy Rodriguez, on Sunday, saying that unless she cooperated, she could face a similar or worse fate to Maduro, which is an extremely noteworthy warning. On social media in recent hours, acting President Rodriguez did suggest more cooperation would be in the near future with the U.S. on this front. Again, long-term question marks remain. Could other countries fall? Could Cuba or Colombia be next here? These are just some of the questions we're asking on this Monday, and we're not going to have answers for several weeks.
That is Joe St. George live in Washington, D.C. As always, Joe, we appreciate the insight.